evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. And smash that like button right meow. You know you're gonna have a good time. Pardon if it does lag, just getting my screen set up. I want to know why this happened. Why did, like twice earlier, I'm watching my show back and the Wi-Fi just decides to go out for a couple of minutes and come back in. Nothing was going on with the weather. It just decided to do that. And then screens. It rains just earlier, and like the Wi-Fi was fine. It stayed on and everything. So I'm glad of that. It's not raining right now. Um, it's just weird. Why would it do that? Like nothing. Like nobody's bumping the cables or nothing. Mercury is not retrograde. It just decided to do that. I don't know, as long as it doesn't do it while I'm live. It does seem a tad bit laggy. Maybe that's why I'm saying it. If it does lag a little bit, it's just because I'm getting my screens opened up. I've got my YouTube chat room opened up. And I'm getting my Twitch chat room opened up. I'm not multicasting. My voice feels crunchy. Forgot to make my tea with honey. It's just, if you have a handle on Twitch, you have a chat room that never closes, even if you don't have content. And some people watch these and they don't have a YouTube account, but they still want to chat along and they're good people. So I would rather myself have to be in multiple places so it's easier for you guys than you guys to have to mess with a platform you don't like, because there are certainly platforms I will not touch for various reasons. I get it. But it's such a trip. People want to see me. I want to make it as easy for them as possible. Oh, what's up to Arden and Went to Go To? Glad you made it. Sweet. Yeah, come on in, sit down, get comfy. You know what? Actually, just do whatever the hell you want, because I'm so sick of videos that you go in and they start to talk about what the video's about, and then they start in with all of the get comfy, grab a snack, get a hot drink, cover yourself up with a blanket, make sure your insurance is paid, shovel your sidewalk, fold your clothes. Like, you mind your, I'm gonna start swearing. It's like, you mind your damn business and get on with the show. Because while you're telling me to get a drink, I'm getting my thumb on the dislike button and I'm getting this video out of my watch history. Like, you mind you. You don't tell me what to do in my own house. God, that pisses me off so bad. Like, hurry. This is 10 seconds of my life gone because you're trying to give me orders. Get to, that's why this video is 30 minutes long, because it pisses me off so bad. What's up to Dandy? Glad you made it. It's so, it rained. It's so humid. Why? Dude, why? Oh, Lisa Gray, glad you made it. Oh, Lisa Gray, I'm glad you showed up, because she sent in a super chat in between shows. I do have super chats opened up. I've got Venmo and Buy Me a Coffee. Those go directly to myself. And you're not giving Google 30%. You're not paying for AI content. Your money stays in the United States. I'm not spending it on hookers and blow. And you get your comment read at my next live show. Just for example, this came in between shows. Lisa Gray said, trusting all will work in your favor. So thank you. That helps out so much with the move. Since I was just saying, I just got your comment one to go to, because I don't have to do a test stream beforehand since my microphone works, but I didn't do one last time and I missed it. So I think I'm going to do those just sort of unofficially. I'm always going to do those because they're just fun to sort of pop in and do and be myself and not be a character, and sort of catch up with folks and just sort of say stuff that I don't want to have in these. Keep them more like a review. But since I didn't get a chance to do, I was surprised. Frank is usually off for his birthday. He worked on his birthday, so I didn't end up going live last Thursday. It was just a regular day. which is good. That means I can get work done for myself. But I did end up going live all the prior week testing out the microphone. So nothing's set in stone. You have to remain loose. Got my leg on the other side of the leg of this. Let me get my leg straight here. I was not expecting it to feel so friggin' humid, man, bruh. Yeah, but Lisa says she's popping in for a minute or two because she has to do everything, right? She even cooks dinner for this guy that she lets live with her. That is so nice of her. So I'm just pulling up the last. I'm pulling up this show so I can read the recap that I wrote earlier that I can't really remember. Oh, it felt longer when I was typing it. So yeah, for the last review that I did, just to recap. So Willie creeped on Carolyn, and she had to pull a gun on him just to get him to back off. And then Burke and Willie almost had a fight in Collinwood. And then later on, they did fight in the Blue Whale. Burke had to let Willie know what time it was. It was time to take a dirt nap. So he got knocked out and chucked out after Willie was just being a jerk to everyone in the whole place. So he had it coming. Burke's the one who gave it to him. So I don't care how hot he is, he had that coming. You don't get pretty privilege and get to treat people like jerks and creep on the girls. It did just nothing this man does, no decisions this man makes are the right ones. If there's a way to screw something up, Willie's the first one in line to do it. You can't put him anywhere. Like it's opposite day and he's just doing everything wrong. Just can't with this guy. But he was recast with a much better actor, so he's fun to watch. But again, he is just screwing up and just everything you can do wrong. This man is on it. Like, hey, don't touch that. Touch. Lisa Gray says it's finally break up here, and I have so many shell casings exposed. On the ground as the snow melts. Wow, saw a huge flock of geese yesterday too. Yeah, spring is trying up here. Yeah, it's just like, what is with the weather in the spring? It's like every other day there's a thunderstorm. Just get calm down, bro. Just chill. What is this serious? It wasn't like this in the winter time. Dial it down a gram, homie. You would think after spending, we don't know how much time Jason and Willie have been friends, but nothing about Jason has rubbed off on Willie, just at all. Also, I don't think I've done this yet, but just in case I do, if I called Jason McGuire Jason Morgan, my bad, totally my bad. Totally different soap opera. I believe the actor's name is Steve Burton. Looks like Cloud Strife, and then ended up doing the voice for him in Advent Children. I watched that back in the late 90s, General Hospital. Advent Children was 2007. Don't watch that unless you've played the video game Final Fantasy VII, but I'm like, did I screw up and say that? If I do, my bad. Totally different fellas. Okay, so we are on episode 208. This aired on April 13th, 1967. And like I mentioned before, as far as filming date goes, they had 2 weeks off from the last episode. So something must have happened behind the scenes for them to get a little vacation. From, March 28th until April 11th. I guess we're going to find out. So it is morning, and we're in the foyer in Collinwood. Willie comes from upstairs on the second floor, comes through the door, heads downstairs, takes a look at that portrait of Barnabas there, and then just goes on into the kitchen door. Dandy said, I had to watch General Hospital while my mom was in the nursing home. LOL, I recognize the Jason name. Yeah, because I'm like JM, Jason Morgan. It's like, why would I think of that? I'm like, no, that's a guy. That's a dude. I haven't thought of that guy in years. But I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oops, did I accidentally say it? Like that Guthrie Garner thing? I don't think I have, but just in case. It totally different fellas. Yeah. So we're in the living room now. Liz is putting on this giant brooch. It's got a big stone in the middle, diamonds all the way around it. It's a big sucker. We haven't seen this before, and she's pinning that on. All of her jewelry looks very nice. It's stuff I'd wear if I was in her, tax bracket. But she puts that on. It's kind of square shaped. And this is the dress that she's wearing. It's this weird one. It's sort of like epaulets, but instead of them going straight across, they kind of, it's like this fabric swoops around the neck and then sort of goes behind the shoulders and then buttons back there, which is, that's weird to me because I lie down a lot, but like it looks okay. Arden said, I never understood how Jason and Willie were friends. I think they said shipmates. It's kind of like Jason was saying in the last episode, like there's people you think you're never gonna get to know and have nothing in common with, and then just fate throws you together. So they must have just maybe they were both trying to scam the same person and decided if they team up they can double scam them, or sort of like, it makes me think of a less funny Chico and Harpo Marx. Like they're both con men, but Chico's more like the straight one, while Harpo's like slowly, like stuffing his pockets. Except, like Willie's a big talker, and Harpo Marx is not, and also Willie doesn't wear a top hat. Like that, what sans comedy. So it's just very, and maybe in your real life you're friends with somebody, or your work friends with somebody, you have nothing in common, but for whatever reason you just click, and that's how it is. So if they do have something in common, I don't know if it ever, like, oh, we both like the color blue, and it's I doubt it's as simple as that. That would be an interesting backstory. It makes me wonder if there's any kind of canon books that discusses how they met up. I don't know if there are, but that would be interesting because they don't seem nothing alike. Maybe that's kind of the point. Maybe that's how they run their scams, because they don't seem like they're alike. But Liz has that dress with the sort of buttons on the back of the shoulders, and then a single pearl. She's got the hair bow. Jason comes in. He's good morning. Mrs. Johnson said you wanted to see me. Liz says, I do. I want Willie out of Collinsport. Jason says, I thought so. I guess you heard about that fight last night between Willie and Burke. Liz says, Willie has absolutely no control. I should have kicked him out after what he tried to do to Carolyn. He must leave Collinwood ASAP. Jason says, I agree. Liz, what? Jason, as far as I'm concerned, Willie and I are no longer friends. You know how eager I've always been to do whatever you ask. Liz, then it's settled. Jason, not quite. Liz, I won't bribe you or Willie for him to go. Jason, well, Willie can't get to where he's going without money. You want him to leave, so it's only fair that you pay for it. Liz, I'll give you bus fare from here to Bangor. Jason, Willie should be compensated for his inconvenience. Liz, then you are asking for a bribe. Jason asks $4,000. How much was $1,000 worth back then? Let's see. I couldn't write these down, but I just go to this calculator that adjusts for inflation. You know, what if the price was different about a week ago? So $1,000 in 1967 is worth, wow, that's some walking around money. That's worth $9,783.98 today. So almost 10 grand. Wow. Dude's asking for a lot then, bruh. So Jason asks for $1,000 for Willie. Liz says, well, you won't get it. She looks down at the floor. We see what she's looking at. Her brooch is falling off. It's just lying there on the ground. So Jason goes over there, picks it up, takes a look at it, and like, can I have my brooch? So Jason hands it to Liz. The clasp on the back of it's broken, so Liz just takes it and sets it on that little, there's a table in between the sofa and the chair in front of the fireplace. She just sets it down there. Then she goes on, she says, I'm not giving you any money, and that's final. Jason says, then Willie doesn't leave Collinwood. Liz, he does, or I'll call the cops. He's violent with no control. Jason's like, fine, make it 500. Willie won't leave without the money. Then you'll call the cops, and that's something neither of us want. So 500 cash. Liz, then he'll be gone. Jason says yes. So Liz says she'll get the money. And as she's walking out, Willie's walking in. He's got a teacup and they're drinking coffee with the saucer. And when you look somebody, you don't want to bump into him. You don't want to see him. But she stops for a second and then just keeps on walking. She's not trying to look at this dude any longer than she wants to. Longer than she has to. But Willie's got, like you can tell, like his cheek, like he's got a bit of a shiner there. Side of his mouth there is a little bit bruised up. So Burke got him good. He really punched his clock. But anytime Willie's pissing people off, he likes it. So he just thinks it's funny that Liz doesn't want anything to do with him. So Jason says, that was stupid what you did last night. And Willie agrees. So Jason says, so you agree it wasn't smart to fight a guy in public? Willie's like, no. I should have done it when no one was looking. Just simply killed him. Probably still will. Jason says, you won't have the opportunity. Willie, I'll find the opportunity. Jason tells him, Liz is giving me $500 to give you to fuck off. Willie says, I'm not leaving with a measly $500 compared to what I came here to get. It's like, no one threatens me the way Burke Devlin did. Jason tells him Liz won't change her mind. Either take the money and leave, or she'll call the cops. Willie, letter. You can fix it so I can stay. Jason says, you've made that impossible. All you can do is take the money and leave. So Willie sets down his coffee cup, and first of all, we can see the design on the coffee cup. Now, I didn't know there was a design on the cups and saucers at Collinwood, but it's like this really light leaf design. But Willie notices that brooch sitting there, a big sucker too. It just probably takes up most of the palm of your hand. So then he starts changing his tune. Like, Jason, maybe you're right. You give me the money and I'm as good as gone. Jason says, good, you can start packing. Willie, in a minute. Jason, you haven't got time to waste. Willie, I won't waste it. I'll be ready to go by the time you get the money. So Jason leaves the room. Willie turns back around, picks up that brooch, gets a good look at it, and he closes his hand around it. Then he walks back towards the foyer, and he's looking to see if anybody's around. Nobody's there. So he's wearing his, I forget if he's wearing his vest or not, but he's got a button-down shirt with the chest pocket. He stuffs it in that pocket there. And he's so happy with himself. There's my pen all the way over there. Oh, what's up, John Rogers? Glad you made it. Yeah, smash that like button if you haven't already. I feel like my hair is just doing nothing but frizzing up and flying in my face. Oh my god. Do they make Xanax for hair so it calms the F down? So now it's afternoon. David is in the living room. He's lying on the couch on his stomach. He's looking at a book. He's got a ring on his right ring finger. So I'm sure it's some kind of like signet ring. I'm sure it belonged to his dad when he was 9. So we don't really get a good look at it. But I did notice he's wearing a ring. It's not like this kid's engaged. This family is not creeps with arranged marriages. But I noticed he's got that on. He's just flipping through the pages, minding his own business. But Liz comes in. She's looking down at the floor, just kind of looking under chairs, kind of bended down a little bit. Lisa Gray says, my hair has been so static, attribute it to the solar flares. God, you put this conditioner, and I don't ever think about what the weather's going to be like in the next hour, even though I've got a weather app on my phone. So I wasn't thinking, oh, it's going to rain today, use extra conditioner. No, I'm just going to have to keep petting it like it's a scared cat. It's okay. It's all right. I'd rather do this than have to wear it up and not wear my hat, so it'll be okay. What are you freaking out about? Like, this is anxiety personified. What? Somebody said something. It was you. You're the only one talking. There it is again. Just Xanax. But Liz says, asking David, do you remember that emerald pin with the diamonds around it? If it's like the one your great grandma gave you when you were 18? Liz, yeah. David says he hasn't seen it since she wore it for her birthday. Liz says, I think I know where it is. In fact, I'm sure. And she heads out of the room. So over in Roger's study, Jason's often kicking it in there. He's hanging out. Liz walks in, goes up to Jason. Give me back my pen. Jason's, I already did. Liz says, and I put it on the table. You know it's not there. Jason says, you don't think I took it. Liz, if you didn't, I'm sure you know who did. Get it for me. If it's really missing, I'll have to tell the insurance and they'll send investigators. So Jason just, backs out of the room faster than we've ever seen. Like, don't do that. Don't do, just out the door. It seems like it's later on in the day, like it really is. Is it after? Yeah, it is. Let's just say it's afternoon. I just get that feeling because we're in the kitchen now, and Willie's sitting there at the table with another cup of coffee. I guess because he's steady putting in 4 scoops of sugar. Have some coffee with your sugar. Just drink a soda. Oh my God. If you don't like the taste of coffee, don't. I don't know. I don't think the actor drank it, but because I was looking at that, I'm like, dude, you're not going to drink that, are you? But 4. Okay. But he's just chilling with his coffee and his 4 spoonfuls of sugar. Jason comes in. And he looks mad, but Willie's like, well, that was quick. Jason, it sure was. Willie, I'm talking about the money. Jason says, I'm talking about Liz's pin. Stand up. And Willie's just chilling. He's just coffee cup on the table there. Tells him to stand up. Willie says, I don't feel like it. Besides, where's the 5? So Jason reaches forward and just grabs his shirt where that pocket is. Willie, grabs his hand to stop him. Jason says, give it to me. Willie says, it's just a set of old keys. So Willie stands up just to get away from him. So, Willie's facing the camera. Jason is behind him. Jason says, I'll count to 5. And when the cops show up and the insurance people arrive, I'll tell them where they can look for it. 1. Willie says, you won't turn me in. Jason, 2. Willie, because if they get me, they'll get you. Jason, 3. Willie, I don't have it. Jason, 4. I mean it. So this whole time, Willie's had his hand over his pocket. Finally reaches in, takes it out. Like I say, it's a big sucker. Jason snatches it out of his hand. Then Willie says, I only wanted it because it was so pretty. Jason said, you took it because it's worth a fortune. There's a right way and a wrong way to get money. The wrong way is to steal something that'll be missed in 5 minutes. If you must steal something that won't be missed. I hope I can convince Liz you didn't take it. So Jason's acting like, he's turning like he's gonna, leave the room with the brooch. But Willie stops him. He's like, wait, let me look at it one more time, please. So Jason just opens his hand so Willie can see it. So then Willie reaches for it. So Jason takes his hand away. He's like, what are you doing? So Willie says, please, just let me touch it. So Jason is, you know, when somebody you know starts doing something weird out of the blue, that's what this is like. Like he's never seen Willie act this way around shiny stuff before. So Jason just opens his hand up again. And Willie's just smiling at this brooch. And he reaches out, he puts fingertips on it. He closes his eyes. Just look at Jason's face. He's just looking at him like, what are you doing, man? He doesn't say that, but after about 2 seconds of it, like that's enough. You're being creepy, man. It's the middle of the afternoon. So Jason, takes the brooch away. He's out of the room. But Willie's still standing there. He's got his eyes closed. So he's saying this to himself. It's like, oh, they're so pretty, jewels are. Sometimes you can tell how pretty they are just by touching them. Don't even have to see them. Just by touching them, how beautiful they are. Then he opens his eyes, and it looks like he's thinking of something. It can't be good. But he's got an idea in his head, so he leaves the room too. What the hell kind of weird fetish is that, touching shiny stuff? Granted, it's not just crows that are attracted to shiny things. It's human nature to be attracted to light. So if you like looking at mirror balls and shiny stuff, you're not a crow, you're just a human being. So I understand wanting to look at shiny things, but this dude wants to like touch them. It is. And again, how long have they been friends? And this seems like the first time Jason is seeing this side of him wanting to touch jewels. It's kind of weird. It is kind of weird. And not creepy weird, but weird. Like, this guy's not a big enough creep. Of course, there has to be something else wrong with him. So he likes to touch shiny stuff. Okay. You need to, your friend needs some help there. So now we're in the living room, and Jason's got that brooch, and he goes to that table there in the middle of the room, and he sets it down in such a way, like we can see it. We can see it underneath the table. I don't know if they had to practice that or what, but we can see it there underneath the table, directly underneath it. Kneeling down to get there. So Liz walks in, and that's right when Jason's, oh, look, I found it, Liz. Liz, you put it there. David and I looked for it. Jason tells her she needs to have it fixed, and Liz says, I will have it fixed right after I call the cops. Jason, why? You got the pin back. Liz, and we both know who stole it. Fighting, stealing, bribery, I won't be part of it anymore. Jason, prison's an unpleasant place. Think of the scandal an arrest would be for the Collins family name. But once Willie's gone, everything will be better. Don't detain him. I'd hate to see anything bad happen to you. So now we are in Roger's study again, but it's David, and he's bringing in Willie because David, like he loves talking about the Collins family history. as much as he hates his dad, he loves like the entire rest of the family history. So he wants to show him. Well, he wants him. He takes him over to the bookshelf and he tells him to get down this one book that's way up high. So Willie pulls it down. It's a big sucker. It's like 2 or 3 inches thick, and it's got some kind of something glued on the cover. It's not just a book. It's super fancy. Can't really see what's on the cover because I open it up right away. And David's saying how like there's pictures and they're so old there aren't really even pictures. Well, they had to take pictures of portraits to even make the book. And David's telling him how the family goes all the way back to the 17th century in America. So Willie says, your family was important back in Europe? David tells him, in France and England. So they get the book opened up, and David's going through it like he knows who these people are. He knows what pages he wants to be on. So it's not like the first time he's looking at this. He points at a picture. We really can't see it too clearly, but he says, this is my great grandmother, Abigail Collins. Now, I'll tell you right now that name is wrong. One, because I've seen the show before, but two, they correct it in the very next episode, so don't mind that name. I just want it to be accurate, so I'm just telling you exactly what he said. But Willie looks at the picture. He says, well, that's quite a necklace she's wearing. David says, there's a story it was given to her by a pirate, along with some other jewels. So Willie says, what happened to all those jewels? Were they lost or sold? David says, the Collins family would never sell them. They feel that jewels are private, so they've been passed down from generation to generation. Willie, so you still have all of them? David did know, but I did hear one story, and he's pointing to the picture. He said, it's stupid, but they say she was buried with all of her jewels. Willie, buried here in Collinsport? And David doesn't know. Willie looks like he's got something on his mind again. Oh no, it can't be good. The hell's he thinking about now? But now it's nighttime. We're in the foyer. And Willie is looking at that picture of Barnabas again. And now for the second time it happens, we get the voiceover again. And it's the same dialogue that we heard earlier when he had, when he had his eyes closed thinking about that brooch. That's just like, they're so pretty, jewels are. Sometimes you can tell how pretty they are just by touching them. Don't even have to see them. You know how beautiful they are just by touching them. I don't know if I said it the way I said it the first time is correct. But it's the same dialogue. They just reread it for the voiceover. But after he's done thinking that, we hear a heartbeat and the eyes of the portrait start to glow again. Like the whites of the eyes get brighter. And Willie looks kind of freaked out. It's not like with Josette where you can sort of tell they're just turning a light on the portrait and it looks like it's glowing. Like this time it just looks like the whites of the eyes are getting brighter. So I don't know how they're doing that, but it's freaky. And we see the portrait of Barnabas for the credits. Again, I've been in a museum at least once that I can remember, or never heard any heartbeats. Oh, that was so much fun. You ever go to the Museum of Modern Art over in Toledo? It was around my birthday in 2011, and they had an exhibit of ancient Egyptian stuff from roughly the 18th century BC. It was I'm sure it was just recreated. It wasn't the real stuff, but stuff from like Tutankhamun's funeral, like the one area of ancient Egypt I know the most about. So I was standing there in my Lady Gaga shirt, getting emotional, looking at pottery, and they would eat at the funeral and then break the plates and cups that they were using and bury those as well. And so they found those and glued them back together, and that's what I was looking at. And that was awesome. I bought the game Senet. I have that still. Senet. Lisa Gray, the plot thickens. I know, right? I've also never gone up to a picture where it has a button you can press and it plays a heartbeat either. So that's freaky. Nothing implies that Willie has auditory hallucinations. Like, he doesn't come off as schizo. So what the hell is this? So episode 209 aired on April 14th, 1967. We're still in day 53. It's nighttime. We're in the foyer. They just reshot the end where Willie's looking at the portrait. He hears the heartbeat. He's freaked out by it. He can't look away from it. Like, the eyes are glowing. Super freaky. But he's staring at the portrait, and then Jason comes in from the kitchen, walks in the door, just sees his buddy standing there, Willie's staring at the picture. So Jason walks up closer to him, and Willie finally turns around like, oh, Jason, didn't you hear that sound? It was coming from that picture. It was coming from everywhere. Willie's nervous. We've never seen him nervous before. Completely different side to him. Jason says, what sound? Willie says, the sound of a heart beating. Jason says, a heart beating. From this picture. Are you crazy? Willie says, I'm sure I heard it. But I couldn't have heard what I thought I did. But is it possible? Jason's like, come in here. I want to talk to you. He wants him to go into the living room. So Willie's like, okay. So he backs up into the living room because the whole time he's staring at the picture of Barnabas. He's not looking away from it. Backs up into the living room. Still staring at that portrait from across the way. Jason's like, Willie, are you listening to me? Willie's, what? I was thinking about that noise I heard. It was weird. Jason says, forget about that. So Willie says, what's up? Jason tells him, I just talked to Liz, and she wants you out of Collinwood today. Willie, today? Jason, Liz is getting the money now. $500. Willie, only 5 bills? Thought you'd be able to get more. Jason says, well, it's good for a start. I'll send you more later on. Share and share alike. Nothing's changed. Willie, it better not change. For your sake. Walks up to the wet bar, pours himself a drink. Jason, you know me. I'm not a loner. What's your objection to leaving anyway? You said you don't like it here. Willie, I don't. There's no action in this whistle stop. Jason, why don't you go where there is some action? The tropics, maybe. And I'll join you later. Willie starts smiling. He likes the idea of that. Says, okay, I'll do whatever you want me to do, like always. He sits down on the sofa and puts his feet up on the table. What the hell, man? Shoes on and everything, bruh. But he does that. He sits down. He's chilling. He says, I'll go in a couple of days. Jason, Liz wants you gone now. Willie, what's the rush? Tell her I'll go in a couple of days. Jason says, well, why don't you go now? Willie says, because I'm not in any rush. Jason, what's keeping you? You said you wanted to go. Willie says, I will, in my own time. Jason, what are you up to? I know you. There's something you're not telling me. Willie, I don't keep secrets from you. Jason, if you're thinking of grabbing more of the Collins family jewelry, forget it. Willie, I'm not going to steal anything that can be traced. I'm taking your advice you gave me a little while ago. Just then Victoria walks in. She said, oh, excuse me. Willie finally takes his feet off the damn table. What the hell, dude? So Victoria walks up to that little desk that's sort of right in front of the camera. And Jason tells him, Willie, why don't you go up to your room and start packing? So there's Victoria. She perks up when she hears that. She's holding on to some stuff. It looks like some maybe schoolwork for David or something. But Willie stands up too. He's eyeing Victoria. He's like, I got better things to do. He gets about halfway across the room. Jason sort of stops him like, get out of here. Willie actually leaves the room. Wow, he took some good advice for once. So as soon as he's out of the room, Victoria asks Jason, she's like, is he leaving? When? She's really trying to, everybody wants him gone. She's trying to find out when as fast as she can without rushing the man. See, when is he leaving? Jason's like, soon, perhaps tonight. Victoria says, will you be leaving too? Jason, I don't think so. I might be here for a while. I hope my staying at Collinwood hasn't caused any inconvenience for you. Victoria, not at all. Jason says, I'd like to apologize for when Willie got out of hand. A lot of people don't understand him. I know he can be a little crude at times, but he means no harm, really. Victoria, maybe not. So Jason goes on. Like, I'm like a father to him. That's why I'm willing to put up with him. He seems to need a sense of family. You can understand that. Victoria, yeah. Like, can you take the hint? I do not want to talk to you, guy. So Jason says, I hope we can be friends. I know Liz is very fond of you. Victoria, and I'm fond of her. Jason, well, so am I. So there's no reason why we can't be friends. And he leaves the room. Like, oh, not only are you staying, but you're continuing to talk to me, and I have to be polite to you. Get out of the room. Stop talking to me. She really is too polite to just shut him down or be like, oh, I guess I don't need anything in here. Bye. Oh, poor Victoria. So now we're in Roger's study, and there, Willie's got a bunch of books open on this little desk, like about like 6 different, books, different sizes, whatever. He's got one big one open, and I'm laughing because this dude has his finger on the page, moving so slowly, and his lips are moving like your lips have to move when you read. Like, how soon did you get kicked out of school? That just he just does not come off like a, I don't mean he's illiterate, he just does not come off like a reader. His lips are moving while he reads. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, the American education system. They don't play it for laughs, but I thought it was hilarious. But whatever he's reading, he doesn't like it. He slams that book shut. He's pissed off. He stands up, walks over to the bookshelf, pulls down this other big ass book like it's nothing, goes back over to the desk, opens it up, does it again. It takes him a minute to find his place. And then he starts moving his finger along, lips are moving, whatever he's reading. And as he's concentrating, in the back we see Mrs. Johnson walk in, and she's got this little water can. I don't know about flowers, but she gets so close behind him and makes some kind of little noise, and that startles him because he was concentrating. Mrs. Johnson asks him, what are you doing with all these books? Willie, well, I was reading up about the history of the Collins family. Mrs. Johnson's great. She says, somehow you don't strike me as the reading type. Girl, same. Willie tells her, though, it's like, oh, David got me interested. He told me a lot of wild stories about them. Mrs. Johnson, huh? I'll just bet he did. Willie says, this one here, Naomi Collins. The boy said those jewels she's wearing were given to her by a pirate. And says she was even buried with them. Did you hear that? Oh, I guess they corrected in this episode. But yeah, it's Naomi Collins, not Abigail. Mrs. Johnson says, I've heard all the legends. So Willie asks, you suppose there's any truth in it? Mrs. Johnson says, I don't know. I don't think about what doesn't concern me. I say, let the dead rest. She's up there on Eagle's Hill. It's a cemetery outside of Collinsport. So, Willie, is that where all the Collins family are buried? Mrs. Johnson, no, that's the only Collins family buried there. The rest are in the regular Collins cemetery. Why? Willie, oh, I think I passed it the other afternoon when I was out for a drive. It's a couple of miles south, right? Mrs. Johnson, no, it's 5 miles north. You must have meant the Collinsport Cemetery. Let's not talk about cemeteries and death. I don't like it. So Willie's like, I'm only interested in the old legends, like Naomi Collins and the pirate. He sits back down at the desk. He's looking at the picture. He's staring down at it. I wonder if it's true. The pirate did give her all those jewels. And she did take them with her to her grave. Mrs. Johnson, I wouldn't know about that. You just put these books away when you're finished, you hear? Mosey's on out. Willie's like, yeah, sure. And as soon as she's gone, he gets another idea. Just something's come to this man's mind. Shuts the book he was looking at and he takes off, just leaves everything there. So if he didn't catch, back when Victoria went to just smelled jasmine in the car, and her and Frank Garner went to a cemetery and met the caretaker. And then later on, we hear about a cemetery that's 5 miles north of Collinsport. That's Eagle Hill Cemetery. We didn't have a name for it back then, but now we do. But before it was just a cemetery, it had no name. But it's 5 miles north. I remember that from writing it down. So that's where they were initially. So where the caretaker is and the Laura Murdochs were buried, plural. That's Eagle Hill Cemetery. Okay, cool. It has a name. Whoops, I hit a button. There we go. You don't strike me as the reading type. Oh, man. So now we are in a cemetery. This must be Eagle Hill Cemetery. It sort of looks just like where when Joe and Frank Garner and Dr. Guthrie were digging up the grave of Laura Murdoch Radcliffe, the one they took out of the ground. It looks like we're in that same exact area. There's a sort of a big stone fence behind them. Some of it is a metal, grid. It's taller than a man, so it's, good luck climbing over that. But there's tombstones. Some of them are cross-shaped. Some of them are just the rounded top ones. But we can't see any names, but Willie's there. He's got his flashlight. He's checking out each one. A little bit smoky out. Or foggy out, I should say. And then we hear a voice. What do you want? So Willie jumps. He turns around. And it's the caretaker. It's that old guy with the glasses, a little bit of a mustache. Guy says, I guard this place. So Willie, oh, you're the caretaker. Caretaker asks him, what do you want? Willie, I'm looking for the grave of Naomi Collins. You know where it is? Caretaker, why? Are you a relative? Willie, that's right. I'm a distant relative. I just got into town. I'll be leaving tomorrow. I want to pay my respects, and this is the only time I could come. Caretaker says there is no grave. She rests in the Collins tomb with their husband and several of her children. They didn't want to be buried in the ground. Willie, where's the tomb? Caretaker, I don't think I should tell you, because it isn't safe there. There's a legend about an evil force there. No one knows what it is. So, Willie, well, how do you know? Caretaker, Joshua Collins said so, and it was passed down from generation to generation. Before he died, he ordered the tomb sealed. So Willie, and no one's ever been in there? You're sure? Caretaker, everyone's afraid of it. They're afraid of the evil inside somewhere. No one goes near it. Not even me. And I live with the dead. So Willie, I'm not afraid of ghosts. Caretaker, you should be. The dead can be frightening when they're angry. So, Willie, what do you know about my ancestor? Caretaker, Naomi Collins died a very old woman in her sleep. Willie, there's a family legend. They say a pirate was in love with her and gave her jewels worth a fortune. She wore them to her grave. Caretaker. She took her love into death. So, Willie, so it's true. Now will you tell me where I can find the tomb? Caretaker, you can't go at night. It isn't safe. So, Willie, okay, I'll come back in the morning. Caretaker, yes, the sun will be shining. It will be safe. So he points. He's like through those trees. You can see it from here. Remember, never go there at night. Never. There's a monstrously evil force in those walls. So, Willie, I'll remember. I'll be back in the morning. Walking off. Caretaker's like, remember, not before morning. Willie nods at him. Turns around. He's smiling about something, but he gets out of there. Sure, old guy, sure. So we're back in Roger's study, and Mrs. Johnson's there. She's got this little, waste paper basket, and there's, crumpled up paper on the desk. She's throwing that away. Like I say, about 6 books there. There's an ashtray with cigarettes. Of course, he smokes. And another coffee cup. This is, okay, the man was drinking coffee at breakfast time. He was drinking coffee with all the sugar in it in the afternoon. Now it's nighttime. The dude's got another cup of coffee. He just must be one of those types that is just always on the caffeine. I can appreciate that. But this man is just sucking down the coffee like it's nobody's business. I guess that's how he has the energy to creep on all these girls. I don't know who to blame on that, Maxwell House or Folgers, but it. And cigarettes. So the man is on his uppers. Okay. But Jason walks in and he asks Mrs. Johnson if she's seen Willie. And she tells him, oh, he left a little while ago. He didn't say where to. He just got in his car and drove off in a big rush. I wish he'd learned to pick up after himself. He didn't put away any of these books like he said he would. Jason's books? I've never seen Willie read a book in the entire time I've known him. Never. Mrs. Johnson, well, he was interested in these books about the Collins family and asking about legends and pirates and lost jewels and I don't know what. Jason says, lost jewels? Mrs. Johnson tells him there's a legend a Collins woman was given jewels by a pirate and was buried with them. I think it's nonsense. Jason says, what got Willie into these legends? Mrs. Johnson, David. What struck me as odd. I don't think anyone listens to David's stories. Like, she don't buy his shit. She doesn't see how anyone else does. Jason says, that's odd, all right. All right, now we're in a new location. It's the Collins family tomb. What they did, the last place we were just at, Eagle Hill, it's like they took the far end of the shot and just slid this in. If you want to be taken out of the, if you want to sort of break the immersion, but that's honestly just what they did. It's the same tombs, it's the same wall back there, but they just slid this in the back of the shot. Oh, that's the wall back there. Okay. But it's got like stairs leading up to it, like a few stairs. It's got these 2 big stone planters on either side of it. And then like some, stone pillars with vines growing up them. And then like this big iron gate door. So Willie's got his flashlight. He's looking around, goes up the stairs. It's looking inside the place. He tries the door, but it's locked. Then we hear stops. Willie turns around real fast. It's the caretaker. I told you not to come here. I told you it wasn't safe. Willie's like, oh, it's you. You followed me. Caretaker says, I saw your flashlight. Why did you come here? I told you a monstrous evil's buried here. Willie, it's the tomb of my ancestor, and I was so close. Caretaker, it's good I found you before anything happened to you. Willie says, I'm okay, I'm fine. Caretaker, if you want to stay that way, just go. Go now. Willie, in a minute. Caretaker, no, now, while you're still safe. Willie, now look! Caretaker, please don't argue with me. Just go and don't come back here tonight. It's too dangerous. Willie says, okay. He starts walking away, but he gets a few steps away. He starts hearing that heartbeat. So he stops, turns back around. It's like, listen, that sound. Don't you hear it? I heard it once before. It sounds like a heart beating. Can't you hear that? The caretakers, all I hear are the leaves rustling or the wind rustling the leaves. Willie says it stopped. Caretakers, your ears are playing tricks on you. Now go, please. Willie's he's creeped out now, so he says good night and he takes off. So the caretaker tries the door to just kind of does the same thing Willie did, goes to pull on it, but it's still locked, so he takes off himself. But then we hear that heart beating again when everybody's gone. And we see the Collins family tomb there for the credit. Sometimes it's called the mausoleum. I call it the tomb, Collins family tomb. All right, this is the disc 22 through 24 recap. This covers episodes 188 through 209. So now back when Laura burnt up, I think Josette made David forget about it because Liz could remember everything when she came out of her trance, but David can't. I don't miss those shots of fire. I really don't. I really don't. I'm so glad I don't have to watch episodes like that anymore. And I'm so glad Liz is awake. It was getting, again, really thin. I see why the numbers were not there and why they were up for cancellation. Sorry to say, but we're away from that now. So Maggie figured out what Sam did all on her own. And Sam is way more relaxed now. He's so chill. I don't think we've seen him this relaxed for the entire show so far. And Carolyn, she liked Jason until she figured out he must have something over her mother. Now she's completely against the dude, so I'm glad she wised up to Jason faster than she wised up to Burke. So good on her. Maybe she's more perceptive now. And Jason McGuire, this dude is every bit of a con man. Any like good thing, it's not good to be a con man, but every a charming, manipulative part of being a con man, that's him. And then Willie's character, he starts out as this hella creepy, like low key, rapey thief with a hair trigger. And he just can't see the big picture. He just wants to grab something and run. He couldn't play the long game for nothing. The man can't even read a book. But I'm actually afraid of John Carlin as Willie. I've never been afraid of a character on Dark Shadows before, but this dude creeps me the hell out. He's almost worse than Burke. He's the most dangerous guy in Collinsport. You know, Burke's not going to start a fight with strangers for no reason. Willie will. He just does not care. And I think only Jason and David like him. But yeah, excellent casting change. Love that. The coat that Willie was wearing in the Eagle Hill Cemetery, I think that's his red jacket. We can't tell that it's red, but later on he's always wearing a red jacket. I think that's what it is. So it kind of makes sense. Okay, put the bad guy in red. I get it. And yeah, officially no more donuts. That is a beginning thing only. R.I.P. donuts, but it's a fair trade-off for a better actor. Okay, we're out of the beginning now. We're into Dark Shadows proper. This is episode 210. This aired on April 17th, 1967. We are on disc 25. It is still day 53. It's nighttime. We're in the foyer. And Willie comes in, starts heading up the stairs. Jason walks out from the kitchen door, sees him, stops him, like, hey, where are you going? Willie, to my room. Jason, come down here. Willie, what for? Jason, I want to talk to you. Where have you been? Willie, out. Jason, out where? Willie, around. Jason, don't give me answers like that. Get down here. Willie goes down the stairs. Jason, where have you been and what have you been doing? Willie, what are you so nosy about? Jason, you've been acting kind of suspicious. Willie, no, I'm not. Jason, I know you. You've been quiet and cagey. I've seen you like this before. You've got something going on for yourself, and I want to know what it is. Willie, I don't know what you're talking about. Then he looks at that picture of Barnabas. And Jason's standing behind him. He says, look at me when I'm talking to you. So he grabs Willie, turns him around. He says, you're up to something. You've been asking a lot of questions about things that shouldn't interest you. Questions about the Collins family. Willie, yeah, they're nice people. Jason, are the ones that are dead? Willie, history. They go back a long time. Jason points at the picture of Barnabas. What's that painting to you? Willie, art. I like looking at it, that's all. Jason, since when has reading become your hobby? Willie, I'm a curious guy. So Jason, you won't tell me what you're up to. Willie's like, nothing, honest. I'll swear on a stack. Jason's, I don't know. You've got something on your mind. Willie, just money. Now, when do I get some? Jason, Liz told me she'd have the money in a few minutes. I just saw her company man drop off an envelope. I want you to go up there and pack. So Willie's, you want me out tonight? Okay. So Liz comes from the living room. She's wearing it's the dark dress. It's got long sleeves. The collar is lace. It goes down the front a little bit. And then like the white lace on the cuffs of the sleeves there. She tells Jason she wants to see him. So Willie heads upstairs. Jason goes into the living room. They play some music here. Now they play it later on in this episode, and I realized I just heard it just now. They've never played this before. I know this music. They played this music in my favorite episode that we won't get to until episode 400 something. But the big one. But I know for a fact they've never played this music before. It's the music from my favorite scene. I'm going to recognize it. So this is the first time they play it. They're going to use it for the whole rest of the series for a lot of different reasons. But I know specifically this music, they've never played it before. And we're going to hear it at least twice in this episode. This is the first time we hear it. You know those blotters for a desk, and it's got a calendar in it, and it's got little, like, you can sort of slide a piece of paper into either side. We see that. We're looking at the desk. Liz tosses the envelope onto that. It catches. Oh, she's got the double pearl earrings and that the small pearls a brooch on. She says, "Here, count it." Jason, I trust you. Liz, I don't trust you. Count it. So Jason picks up the envelope. He's like, I can tell it's all there by the feel of it. Liz, be sure Willie leaves as soon as you give it to him. Right now. And she leaves the room. Then we hear that music play again. So we hear it like twice in the same scene. So as soon as Liz is out of the room, Jason opens the envelope and counts it. I trust you. Count, count, count. So now we're at a shed. Just one, but tools hanging on the wall. It's wooden, just things you would expect to see in a shed. There's a table. One of these it isn't a vise. It's something you can open up and then make smaller to like put something in it and work on. And it's on the edge of the table. It's one of those. I clearly know what they are. But Willie's in there, and he's got a bag, and he starts loading it up with a rope, this pulley. He's got this flashlight. Just throwing tools into a bag. Then we haven't seen this before. It's sort of the night establishing shot. So we're looking up into the sky. We can see the moon, and it's really cloudy out. So you can see the clouds moving across the moon. Very spooky. It's black and white, so I couldn't tell if it was day or night. But I guess it's supposed to be night. So that's the nighttime establishing shot. We're at the Eagle Hill Cemetery again. And there's Willie. He's walking up to the tomb. And we can hear it way off in the distance. There's some doggo barking. And Willie's shining his flashlight on that lock there. So now we're back in Collinwood in the foyer. Victoria comes downstairs. It's 11 p.m. on the clock. Goes up to the living room door, knocks, Liz is in there, tells her to come in. And Victoria says that Collinwood's so quiet. Liz, yeah, Carolyn's been staying out as much as possible. She's afraid of that man. Victoria, I am too. Why is all of this happening? How much longer will we have to put up with Willie? Liz, you don't have to worry about him anymore. He's leaving right now. So Victoria, Carolyn will be happy to hear that. I was afraid he was going to be here for a long time. Is he leaving Collinsport? Liz, yeah. And Jason's going with him. No. Victoria says, I thought they traveled everywhere together. Liz, I don't know, and I don't care. Victoria says, well, why did he want to leave? He's been suspicious lately. But even Jason thinks so. He's been asking about the Collins family history, and he kept staring at that picture by the door of that man with all the jewelry. Liz, like, oh, Barnabas Collins. He was known for his jewelry. It's strange that Willie would be interested in jewelry that only exists in a painting. So we're back at Eagle Hill Cemetery, and Willie is removing the chain from that gate to the tomb. And he goes inside. It's a new location. We're actually inside the tomb. It all seems to be made out of stone, like the walls. But then there are these 3 coffins on the ground, evenly spaced out, that seem to be made out of marble. And then up on the wall, there's these 3 plaques. So Willie's shining his light on them. There's the one that's like way back in the corner that says Joshua Collins, 1755 to 1830. Goes over to the middle one that says Naomi Collins, 1761 to 1821. So that's the one he wants. So he starts pulling at the lid of this coffin. He tries it on one side, tries it on the other. Dude is straining. It's not budging an inch. So he goes over to his bag, reaches in, takes out the crowbar, tries that, tries to get it to budge. Again, nothing. Chucks it on the ground, just clang. So he's pissed off. What does he do? Reaches into his pocket, pulls out his smokes. Of course he smokes. Just, I know I saw the ashtray in the other scene, but oh my God, man. So he lights up, he tosses his match on the ground, littering. But then he gets an idea. He goes back over to the bed. Well, he sets his cigarette down on the very edge of the coffin that's sort of closest to the camera. We haven't seen what's on the wall for that one, but he sets it right on the edge there so his cigarette can keep smoking. But he pulls out the pulley. It's got the hook on one end. It's already got all the rope through it and all that stuff. Now, each one of the lids of these coffins has a ring on it. So, like, you assume when the body was put in, they had to use a pulley to lower it down because it's marble. So he gets it hooked onto one of those, and right above where Naomi Collins plaque is on the wall, there's a lion's head with a ring in its mouth. So he's reaching up there to hook the pulley onto it, but we hear the heartbeat again, and he just drops it. It's loud as hell too. It's a tomb, so there's an echo. So he's freaked out by that. Now we're back in Collinwood. Jason's just coming inside. Liz is right there. She's like, is he gone? Was he pleased with what was in the envelope? Jason's, he will be. I can't find him. Liz, I paid to get rid of him. I want my money's worth. Take care of it now. So we're back in the tomb. That heartbeat's going on. Willie's scared. Like he's backing up. He's heading back over towards the door to get out. But he's looking outside. As soon as he gets over there, the heartbeat stops. So he turns back around. Not as scared anymore. He picks the pulley up off the ground. It reaches up real slow, hooks it back on there. It's still hooked up to the coffin. So he starts pulling on it. And rather than the lid coming off of the coffin, the ring in the lion's mouth starts to pull out. It's like it's on a cord, so that pulls down a few inches. And where the plaque is for Naomi Collins, the whole wall opens up. It's a door. Dude, secret room. Okay. But when it opens, we hear the heart beating again. But Willie's not scared. He just walks up to it, hops on in. So we got another new location. This is just the secret room in the mausoleum. There's we don't see it yet, but it's a little bit farther down. There's a few steps to get down into it. But the camera pulls back and we can see that there is a casket wrapped in chains. Like 3 separate chains. Each one has a padlock on it. What the hell do you need to wrap up a casket for? What the hell? It's a casket, not a coffin. The way to remember it is for a coffin is when the lid comes off, and a casket is when the lid is attached. So off, coffin, attached, casket. I just had to figure that out for myself. I don't know why. Why wasn't I taught that in Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something? Dandy, oh damn, yeah, just secret room, cool, wrapped up coffin. Why? But you know, Willie sees these chains. He's not gonna manhandle those, so he goes back to his bag. He pulls out the this mallet and a chisel and starts, you know, banging on those. That's what Roger should have had when he was trying to get into the room in the basement, not that flat thing. But it's, I guess Willie's better at breaking into stuff, so he's going at those padlocks with the chisel. Lisa, dun dun dun. Who could be in there? Just a bunch of old clothes and books. Damn it. I don't know, because right now we're back in the living room and Victoria's sitting on the sofa like she's writing a letter, minding her own business. And Jason comes in and sits by the fire, and Victoria, you know, she's packing her stuff up. She's done. Like, yeah, I'm done writing my book anyway. Dandy, was Naomi an evil vampire? Yeah, maybe she's not in that front one. Maybe she's in the back one. I guess she did die before her husband. Could be anything. Oh, it's an extra coffin in case we had an extra kid, but it's just full of rocks. But Jason is just reassuring Victoria, oh, things will be quiet again after Willie's gone. Victoria says, I think you missed him. I saw him leave and he was carrying his things. Jason carrying his things? He wouldn't have left without saying goodbye. So we're back in the secret room. Grave robbing, drink. So Willie gets that last chain, gets it off of there, you know, pulls everything off. takes all the tools off of the lid, and he goes to lift it up. And this thing's heavy. It's creaking like he's a grown ass man, and it's heavy for him. But he's pushing it up really slowly, really slowly. This thing's creaking. He's trying to look inside, and when you're excited to see something open up, so he keeps glancing down for when he can see into this thing. But he gets the lid up so high, and then when you're so scared nothing comes out. That's it. Whatever, like, this man's eyes bug out. He can't even scream. He's so freaked out because while he's holding this lid up, a hand comes up out of the coffin, grabs his neck, and what we can see is a big oval ring with the dark stone. It's some kind of dark colored sleeve with this really frilly, ruffly white something. It's not lace, but it's rather fancy. But this giant oval dark ring. And then we see the tomb for the credits. Dude, there's a dude in there. Arna, Love Me With All Your Heart is an English version of Cuando Caliente El Sol. Okay. I took a little bit of Spanish, but I don't know that much. And by the size of a hand, it looks like a dude. Yeah, a mood ring that big. Yeah. I don't know if they had mood rings that big back then, but it's definitely a guy's hand with the big ring and wearing some fancy clothes. And it's, yeah, anytime, if you've ever opened a casket and someone's reached out, I'm sure you would have been scared too. So it's understandable. But dude was just speechless. He could not even scream. You just open your mouth and nothing comes out. That was him. Bruh. I know he was thinking, oh, this is all wrapped up because there's jewels inside, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to get all the Collins family heirlooms, and then GTFO, and just live off of that, and just to go from that, like no, here's some dude's hand up in there, so that's not cool. How did that guy get in there? It was chained up. He didn't put himself in there. And it's not like a joke hand on a spring or something like that. This was an actual person's hand. Pardon me. Just ruined his day. So now episode 211 aired on April 18th, 1967. It's day 54. The intro is saying how it's almost morning, so it's, the next day. It's just been all night, I guess he was out there. And the intro was saying, well, it's Victoria saying that a frightening and violent man has disappeared. And what they did, they just reused the footage from the last episode. They didn't reshoot it. They just used the same footage of Willie, getting that last chain off, taking the stuff off of the lid of the casket, lifting it up, hand comes out. So now it's full on daytime. We're in the living room at Collinwood, and Liz is wearing that dress that I like with the, it's mostly dark, 3/4 sleeve. It's got like the white, lighter fabric that's folded over at the neck. Same kind of lighter fabric at the wrists. Double pearl earrings and those tiny small pearls. Brooch is what she's got on. And she's saying to Jason, like, you promised Willie would leave last night. His things are still here. It was bad enough when he was here, but at least we could keep an eye on him. Jason says, I've looked for him in every conceivable place. Liz, then look for him in some inconceivable places. Jason says, you're asking me to bring him here just to send him away again. Like, I don't know where he is. You have my word. Liz, I've had your word once before. You were paid very well to fuck off 18 years ago and never come back. So then Mrs. Johnson comes in. She says, I was going to make up Mr. Loomis's room, but his things are still here. Liz says he'll be gone later. Then she says to Jason, let me know. And she takes off. Mrs. Johnson says to Jason that, well, you know, Mr. Loomis did act like he was leaving. I saw him around the tool shed last night. I know what I see when I see it. And he's strange. He's always, the whole time you're talking to him, it's like he's thinking something and you don't know what it is. Jason, yeah, I know. I don't know what he's up to. Mrs. Johnson says, I'm kind of sorry to see him go. Don't get me wrong, I disapprove of him thoroughly. But he was interested in things, and I like telling him about family things. About the Collins family, not her own. Arden says, I just realized a few weeks ago it was a lounge singer hit in the 1970s. Oh, okay. Are those songs without words? It's so hard for me to remember those kind of things. So just then, the clock in the foyer, it's chiming the half an hour. We don't see it, but Mrs. Johnson moseys on in there. She's just checking her watch. But Mrs. Johnson, she goes on saying that Willie asked about the Collins family history, mostly about that picture of Barnabas Collins, you know, what his name was, who he was, and he seemed sorry that he went to England and died. Maybe there's good left in him yet. So Jason, as I'm sure there is in us all. What else did he ask you? Just about anything. You know, Willie's always had strange, you know, he's had strange fancies before. Mrs. Johnson says, I think he liked the jewels the most. Like, I'm sure he'd like to see that ring up close. Jason says, anything else? Mrs. Johnson, the legend that Naomi Collins was given jewels by a pirate and she wore them to her grave. It's nonsense. Jason, where is she buried? Mrs. Johnson, that's what Willie asked. She's five miles north at Eagle Hill. Why? Jason, curiosity. Mrs. Johnson says too many people are curious about such things. And she heads upstairs. Jason grabs his coat and his hat and he gets out. So we're back in Eagle Hill Cemetery at the outside of the tomb there, and the caretaker walks up, and we hear the gate swinging on the hinges. It's sort of banging in the wind. You know, it's been unlocked. And the old guy's saying, he's like, I know someone's here. I can feel the evil in the air. So somebody comes walking up, The caretaker says, "Go away." Let's Jason walks up to him. He says, "I'm looking for a young man." Caretaker, sacrilege, disturbing the dead. He's a criminal. He pretended to be someone he wasn't. Jason, if that were a crime, we'd all be in jail. What did he do? Caretaker, he said he was a Collins. I knew he wasn't. Points out the door. The lock looks broken, like it's just hanging off the hinge. I think Willie picked the lock, but it looks all busted and hanging off of there. Caretaker says, "This is Joshua Collins and Naomi Collins' tomb. They've got a son buried in England. He should have never gone inside. Evil's there. Can't you feel it?" Jason did. "No, I can't say that I do." Caretaker says, "The dead were disturbed. I can tell." So Jason walks inside the tomb. Caretaker is right on his heels. He says, "We shouldn't be here." So Jason looks at the plaques on the wall of Joshua and Naomi. And the caretaker points out that third grave there. He says, "That one's for Sarah Collins." Jason points at the middle one there. He's like, "Isn't Naomi Collins the one buried with her jewelry?" Caretaker says, "That's what the man asked me last night. Someone was here. The lock was broken." Jason says, "If Willie was here, there'd be more evidence than that. He wouldn't have gotten this far and stopped." Caretaker, stopped what? Jason, "Nothing. I'm satisfied he wasn't here." And he starts to head out, then he looks down, sees Willie's cigarette he left on that other coffin there. Caretaker tells him, "Will you tell your friend never to come here again?" Jason, "I told you he wasn't here." Our nope, Spanish song, popular in lounges. Okay. It might have been something I've heard before, and I just don't realize what it is until it's like you hear songs and you don't have a name to put to it, then you hear it again, you're like, "Oh, that. I know that song. It's the one that goes, So we're back in Collinwood in the foyer. Jason comes in. There's Liz. "You still haven't found it." Jason says, "I will. He's probably somewhere in Collinsport." Liz, "Is this some scheme to keep him here?" This is the first time we've ever seen Jason this frustrated. He's like, "I've had a long day. It's not." So Mrs. Johnson comes in from the kitchen asking Liz, "How many for dinner? Should I set a place for Mr. Loomis?" Liz says to Jason, like, "Will he be gone?" Jason, "I'll do my best." Liz, "There's your answer." So Jason heads upstairs. Mrs. Johnson goes up to Liz. She says, "Don't you think it's strange Jason doesn't know where his friend is? I don't like to talk about your good friends, but don't you find them strange? I don't like this Mr. Loomis disappearing. I think something's wrong and I don't like it." Liz tells her not to worry about it and just, let me know if he turns up. She's going up to her room. So when Jason came in, he didn't hang up his coat. He just set it down there on the table. So Mrs. Johnson looks at that, picks it up, said, "Nobody hangs up a thing around here." Goes over to the door. She's hanging up his coat. There's a knock at the door. So she's right there, opens up the door. There's a guy at the door. The camera's behind him. This he's got a big coat on. It seems like whenever anybody's wearing a coat, they've got the back of it flipped up. And then he's also wearing a hat. And he's, a little bit taller than Mrs. Johnson, so she's got to look up at him. But the guy says, "I'd like to see Mrs. Stoddard if you'd be so kind." Mrs. Johnson says, "Mrs. Stoddard?" The guy says, "This is Collinwood, isn't it?" And she says, "Yes." The guy says, "And the mistress here is Mrs. Elizabeth Collins Stoddard, is she not?" Mrs. Johnson, "Yes." So the guy says, "Then perhaps you'd do me the courtesy to inform her that her cousin is calling and wishes to pay his respects." Mrs. Johnson is a cousin? The guy says, "Her cousin from England." Mrs. Johnson, "From England? Oh, please come in." The guy says, "I'd be delighted, thank you." This dude definitely has an accent. So the guy comes in, we're in the foyer. He still has his back to the camera, but he, takes off his hat, hands his hat. He's got a cane, and it looks like some gloves, so he hands those to Mrs. Johnson. She sets them on the table. And she says, "Well, I'll let Mrs. Stoddard know you're here." And she heads on upstairs. So the man turns and like he's looking at that portrait of Barnabas Collins. We get a good shot of that. The man walks up to it, and then he turns the rest of the way around so we can see him. Yeah, wearing a suit and tie, he's got a vest. He's like, "Oh, madam, if you would, you may tell her that it's Barnabas Collins." It's the dude from the picture. It's him. It looks like he looks like the Barnabas Collins in the picture, but younger. It's the same guy, like with the hair and everything. It's that dude. Bruh. Dude's got hella cheekbones. Honestly, like the Dandy, yeah, uh-oh. Yeah, I don't think I can get through the next episode in 12 minutes. To be honest, who I really think this actor looks like my first thought, I still think this the first time I see him. I don't know if you'll think the same thing, but he does low key bear a resemblance to like the real life, the way he looks now, Ramses II. Like not his statues and all that stuff when he was young. I mean his mummy now, because this dude has like he's got the cheekbones, like a thinner dude, a little bit of a like the noses are like not exactly, but kind of like similar, and maybe the same kind of brow. So it's I've clearly been into ancient Egypt, but like that's my first thought. Like he doesn't really look like any other actor I've seen, but I always go like he doesn't look dead. He doesn't look like a mummy, but he's a thinner dude. I always think of Ramses II. Like you can look him up now, bears a slight resemblance to him, except this dude is very much alive. He doesn't have like the picture. The picture of Barnabas Collins, that portrait there. It's like these like lines across the forehead. It's not necessarily like he's older. It's just more like shading. but it does make the portrait look more like stern and serious. Like the dude's not smiling in the portrait. But this guy shows up like he's very pleasant, very well spoken. Even though we can't see his face, you can tell that he's smiling when he speaks. So he just looks like a younger version of that painting. Arden says, and at the Blue Whale, they play Pedro Gonzalez and his Mexican brass. All the music is Mexican? In Maine. That's hilarious. Oh, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, so it's we don't have any English people here now. I would like to see somebody like one of the English fans listen to this man talk and see how close of a English accent they think he has, because I know the actor is not English. He's just playing a character who is. I mean, he doesn't sound like Michael Caine or something like that. It's not any kind of Cockney or that. Maybe it's just a stage English accent, but he's definitely, it's nothing I'm gonna try to pull. He does have we will find out he does have a definite way of speaking, and it's not that he's speaking with words that folks just don't use that much nowadays. He does sort of hang on the S's in words, which I'm not going to do that just in case it ends up hitting the mic in a weird way. I'm not trying to do the Barnabas Collins impression when I do these. So yeah, it's that guy. Or it's a guy that looks like another guy. I forget if I said we see the Eagle Hill Cemetery for the credits. That's creepy. Why would a new guy show up and we see Eagle Hill for the credits shot? Wouldn't we see the foyer? I don't know. Maybe that means something. But yeah, new guy in town. We've never heard about any Collinses other than the four living in this house. We've never heard about like other branches of the family in other parts of the world. Mrs. Johnson clearly, like we just assume Mrs. Johnson's lived in Collinwood her whole life. So if there was other family around, even folks in town would have heard about them. So she's, like cousin. Like, yeah, this is Collinwood, but Danny Barnabas is here. Now it gets good. It certainly, like I was saying before, it almost becomes two shows in one, because things will happen in Collinwood, like regular Collinwood, and then we'll have stuff happening at the old house or elsewhere in town. And even though it's just a half an hour show, it kind of feels like we're getting double the show in the same time, the way they're sticking to. There's so much to talk about now. It's not just a lady sitting in front of a fireplace for 22 minutes. Now we're going to have stuff going on in two separate locations, and plus like Jason is still pretty new. Willie's even newer. Now we got a third guy here. Arn said, I see the resemblance to the mummy. Yeah. Look up Ramses II. It's the same pharaoh from the Bible, that guy, but his like not his statues, his mummy now with the cheekbone. Like look at the profile he's got. I don't have the same kind of nose, but they sort of do. That's always my first thought. It was my first thought when I watched it for the first time in maybe 2012. I always think that. And I certainly don't mean it as an insult or anything like that. Like an alive mummy, but not with the dark skin, because mummies get dark skin when they're mummified because of the resin and all that stuff. So if Mrs. Johnson doesn't know about other family that are Collinses, maybe the family themselves don't know that they have other family that was across the pond. Or he shows up, oh, yeah, we knew about you. We just don't talk about you. So I'm sure it would have come up. You look at Barnabas's portrait, somebody would have been like, oh, and by the way, he still has family living in such and such. That hasn't happened. So it seems like this is a brand new dude that folks might not have known about. And yeah, so next week, we will get into more with that fella. And yeah, just give everybody a chance to meet this guy. Really interesting dude. This is why the show went from you'll be canceled in a month to running for 4 more years. So folks seem to have needed vampires, or at least a vampire. I don't know if he is a vampire. People just needed something different in their lives, and this fella is what did it for them. And that's why there's going to be a convention at the end of July for the 60-year anniversary. So actually, as of the end of June, it will have started 60 years ago. So he's why the show was still a big deal 60 years later. And I'm sure other things, had something to do with it. You can't just you got to have other actors to play off you to be a big deal. So it's him, it's some of the supporting cast. So yeah. I'm glad we got up to the Barnabas episodes. I'm still in the same place for now. As of right now, I guess I'll be going live from the same place next Saturday. I don't know about this month. I'd like to do an extra balcony chat. I just don't know because I don't know where I will be living by a month from now, by the end of this month. But I just want to keep proceeding with these as I have been. And hanging out with you guys because I look forward to seeing you guys here every week. These are a lot of fun. It's just so humid. If I seem uncomfortable, it's just so I didn't expect it to be this damn humid in here. It was so cold in here this morning, and now it just feels like I'm sitting in Florida. WTF. But yeah, if you like Dark Shadows, you can watch it right now for free on Tubi. Link in the channel description and the show description. It's also on Internet Archive. So you can watch it anytime on your device. I already mentioned that I've got super chats opened up. That stuff helps out with the move, just in case I do have to end up living in a hotel. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I can go live to talk to you guys. Andy says, thanks, Nikki. Love the Saturday nights. Things will work out. Have faith. Yeah, it's things gotta work out for the way they're meant to. I guess it's Easter tomorrow. Have a good Easter. Enjoy your chocolate bunnies and any of your other Easter stuff. I don't know what people do for Easter. I celebrated it as a kid, but nobody could explain to me why when I was a kid. So thanks for showing up. Smash the like button on your way out. Don't forget your pants. Sorry if this makes any chime noises. It's just because the battery is getting low. But I love you guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for giving me something to look forward to every week. Hopefully it's not this humid next week. Oh, that feels so ugly. John Rogers says, good night, Nikki. Lisa says, good vibes sent to surround you, Nikki. See you next time. Yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time. I'll see you guys in the chat room through the week. So everybody take it easy. Get some good sleep. Smoke it on the balcony. Get something to eat. Get something to drink. Don't grave rob. That's not good for you. Certainly wasn't good for Willie Loomis. I don't think he was having a good time after someone grabbed him by the neck. So love you guys again, everybody. Take it easy. And yeah, just love seeing you guys. Thanks for being here for me so I can be here for you. And we'll get through any of the bad stuff together. You guys make all of the bullshit worth it. So thank you guys again for being awesome and based and sexy and all the good things. Yep, sorry for the chime off there. The battery's getting low. All right, so until next time.